guns, personally. I can't stand them. Yeah, but I have several. I don't want them, but I feel like I need them.
This is our first guest for our very first episode. Very apropos for what's going on. All the way from South Texas, let's help welcome Robert Alejadro, survival and firearm expert. How you doing, Robert?
How you doing, Big Al? Straight from the bunker to
Straight
you,
from the
sir.
It's glad to have you on.
You should put survival in quotes.
Survival.
But anyway, mostly my background was in firearms. So I was a competitive shooter for several years, and I did work in the industry. Here's the thing. You don't need to go out and buy a bunch of guns.
So don't buy a bunch.
Don't buy a bunch.
So,
I mean, well, you know what? Buy a bunch. We need to also kind of help the economy. So you know what? Go gangbusters.
For the economy's sake. But
the main thing is you want to buy a firearm that you're comfortable with. I normally recommend in a non-panic situation, you go out to your local shooting range that rents firearms, try a couple. It's kind of like buying a car. You're not going to buy a car without test driving.
You got to test shoot them.
Yeah, you should. Most people buy a gun blind. That's actually what happens is they go and they just go, that one. So, but anyway, so let's get into what the average person, what I would normally recommend. This is what I recommended to people when I was still in the firearms business. If there are 3 guns that I'm going to recommend for people to get in a apocalypse or just a self-defense situation, whatever it is, it would be a handgun, a shotgun, and an AR-15.
Handgun, shotgun, and AR-15.
AR-15.
Okay.
So getting a handgun makes sense. One, it's a portable weapon. You can conceal it. You don't know if when you have to go out that it is good to have a weapon concealed. Remember, if you are walking around with a long gun, a shotgun, or a rifle, you are basically advertising that you are armed, which makes you a target. So a handgun gives you the ability to possibly feign like you are not a threat. So that's the thing. You don't want to be coming off as a threat because you don't want anyone to interpret what you're doing as a threat and then shoot you. So the best thing to do is, now a lot of people talk about bugging out. I always say bug in. Stay where you are. Don't go out if you don't have to. But back to the gun thing. You want to get a handgun.
Okay.
So the gun that I probably sold the most, probably one of the most popular handguns in America, is the Glock. Right here. It's actually a Glock 17. This has a 17-round capacity.
Okay.
If you live in a free state like Texas, if you live in California, sorry, you're capped out at 10.
All right, 10. So that's it. So if the zombie apocalypse comes, 10 zombies, and then you're screwed.
Glock has name recognition.
Yeah,
so people come in and they go Glock because they heard about it.
Of course.
Not a bad choice, actually, because Glock is without doubt one of the most reliable handguns on the market.
It's a great gun, yeah. What does one cost, like the one you just showed us?
About $400 to $500, depending on where you go, and if you get one new or used. Also, we're on like the 5th generation of Glock, so if you get an older generation one, which there's nothing wrong with those, usually like a Gen 3. If you're in California, that's all you can actually get.
It's just the Gen 3.
Gen 3s. So I usually recommend, if you're in a bind, it's the end of the, it's panic, everyone's going nuts, go in, pick yourself a Glock. I highly recommend staying in one caliber. 9mm is the U.S. military and NATO caliber. It is abundant, very easy to find in the United States.
Right. You want to get the most common round in America so that you can use for any of the guns that you have. I don't have a gun. And I was No, I don't. I don't have a gun. And I was in the Marine Corps. I was trained in several different weapons, and I don't have one. And I almost bought a Glock, and I'm heavily considering one now. Not because I want one to do any harm, but I see how much people panic and freak out, and I'm just like, you know what? I just want one just in case. And I see how people are overreacting right now for this virus, and I'm like, you know what? I talked to my wife, and she's not much of a fan of guns, but when I explained to her what's going on and how we lived through the hurricane and how panicked everybody was, she's finally come to a sense that she's comfortable with the idea of having one just in case. And I think it's a healthy place when you and your spouse or you and your partner can come to that kind of agreement, because it's going to become a reality. Maybe. There's always a chance. So yeah, it's good to be prepared, and it's good to know these things, about buying the right gun, buying the right ammo and being prepared for that. And now that you've told me this, I am leaning towards a Glock. I looked into getting a Glock 4 at a good price, and after you told me what the value is, I think that's a good deal for me, and I think I feel comfortable with that. I might hit a couple of the gun ranges around town and practice a little bit, so that it's been a while since I fired a rifle or a pistol. I've been out of the Marine Corps for quite some time, so I like to get reacquainted with it, and I just want to be safe. It's not even that I want to be safe. I just want to know that I'll be safe if something goes down.
It's like a security blanket. Really, guns are like condoms. It's better to have it and not need it than to need it and not have it.
That is true.
The main thing is, man, and I cannot emphasize this enough. First of all, in a situation where it might be life or death, you got to keep your head.
Right.
I cannot emphasize being calm. I cannot emphasize
keep your head.
Knowing your surroundings, having your situational awareness.
Okay, let's talk about the shotgun.
Shotguns are great because if you are a novice shooter, someone who doesn't have a lot of experience with shotguns,
don't need experience with a shotgun.
Make it pretty easy they're pretty easy to operate. You have a lot of different rounds that you can choose from. You have birdshot, you have buckshot, you have slugs, whole lot of different options. Now, for a defensive situation, you really want to do buckshot. I'm pretty sure everyone saw Dave Chappelle's stand-up and they know about the Jamaican recipe.
First shot, birdshot. Next shot, buckshot. Birdshot. And then after that, guns Jamaican. Buckshot, buckshot, buckshot.
Right.
Now, you want to do that. Why? Birdshot spreads. It's kind of more of a deterrent. It may
lets
not
people
kill
know, right? It's like, hey, watch out.
But let's just assume that if you're shooting at someone, well, you're intending to kill them. So load up with buckshot because it's going to spread. It's going to give you a nice penetration. It's going to take the subject down. The problem with shotguns, though, is they're big. The ammunition is bulky. You can't carry a lot of it. What was the saying in the military? Ounces turn into pounds?
Yes.
Exactly. Now, getting into the AR-15, the big old scary AR-15 that everybody's freaking out about, and
semi-automatic weapon, right?
Now, little facts about the AR-15. The AR-15 is the most popular firearm in the United States right now.
Okay.
But the main reason that the AR-15 is so popular is because it is such a great platform. As you know, Al, you were on the M16.
I was on the M16, yes.
Yeah, the AR-15 is basically the same design. It's a semi-automatic.
Very similar,
automatic, civilian variant of it. Now, the best part about it, and you remember this from your Marine days, it was a light weapon. So anyway, getting into it, the thing is, I could take a person, and I used to train people. I can get a person shooting an AR-15 as long as they listen well, competently in about an hour.
Okay.
Because the platform makes it really easy. Learning to shoot a handgun is a lot harder. In fact,
be more accurate.
Yeah, it is, and you are less accurate, and the AR-15 is going to be more accurate. So if you're a novice, the AR-15 is going to give you a bigger edge than a handgun. I have seen people shooting at each other, videos of people, and you can YouTube this.
Oh, yeah.
They're 2 or 3 feet away from each other, missing at
with
each
handguns,
other
right?
Completely with handguns. Why? They're jerking the trigger. They don't have a proper grip.
They're doing the sidearm shot.
Yeah, it is hard to train someone on a handgun. So I highly recommend, if you live in a state where you are allowed to own an AR-15, that you go out there and you get yourself an AR-15. Now, the magazines for these things, which are 30-round magazine, I highly recommend getting a 30-round magazine. Don't go any bigger. You can if you want to, but I usually just recommend sticking to the 30-round magazines. Pick up a bunch of those. These are $10. $10 right now. Wow. You can go online right now and you can buy a 10-pack for about $80. You'll get it for less than $10 a magazine. Point is, you get yourself a gun, and you want to practice with it. I cannot emphasize that enough. The thing is, people buy a gun, they go shoot it, and then they think, all right, cool, I'm good, I'm set. Now, here's the problem.
You like this when they do the side shoot, where they shoot from the side.
Yeah.
You can't do that when crap goes down.
That's the thing, though. You gotta practice with it.
Yeah,
man. It's not. But you simply having it won't save you. It's like when you learned how to drive a car, man. You had to do it a couple of times before you freaking felt comfortable doing it.
Took me 3 months to be a sharpshooter when I was in the Marine Corps. Okay.
Yeah, you gotta enjoy yourself when you're in these bunker situations. Another important thing to keep yourself occupied. So books, I know that is a foreign concept for most people now.
Books, you need a book. Yeah, read a book.
Mostly in a situation that's bad is not freaking out more.
True.
You need to stay calm.
Keep calm. Keep your head.
Keep your head. Use common sense. One of the things we try to teach people when they're trying to learn how to shoot is something we call situational awareness.
Okay, situational awareness.
Yeah, being aware, which is just being aware of your surroundings.
That's very important.
And see trouble coming, you have an advantage. Especially considering if you are a novice shooter, someone who has no experience with firearms or very little, you want to give yourself as much of an edge as possible.
Right.
Why? Because when stuff goes bad, there's going to be a whole lot of guys out there who all we did was learn how to shoot real good.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I guarantee you, we're going to be the last ones to go hungry.
That's the key, right?
We're trying to make sure people here have an advantage.
Okay. Well, that's good to know that these are the 3 weapons you want to have. You want to get a handgun, a shotgun, or an AR-15. And now that you know, find your local dealer, get your hands on one, go practice, go check it out before you figure out which one you want, or maybe you want all 3 of them. But it's good to be prepared, not because you want to hurt somebody, but you just don't know. You never know, and it's better to be prepared than unprepared. That's why people like everybody, like you were. I talked to you before you came onto the show. Like everybody that's panicking and buying all these survival items. It's great that they're doing it, but what did you say? They should have done it months ago.
The time to get prepared is when things are good.
When things are good.
You should have this, not just because it's a coronavirus, but because anything can happen.
Anytime.
You want to be ready.
Exactly. Well, thank you so much, Robert. Thank you for calling. This is good information. This is stuff that people need to know. It's all about being prepared, being on the ready. And that's something I learned being in the military, something I learned being a Marine, is always be on the ready. Just be prepared. Adapt and overcome. And then when all else fails, adapt and overcome. So, yes.
And situational awareness.
Situational awareness. Be aware of the situation you're in, where you are, what's around. Yes, totally. Well, we appreciate that. We appreciate you calling in, taking the time out to give us a call and let us know about these things. And hopefully some of our listeners, maybe you inspired them to take some lessons. They make it look so easy on The Walking Dead, when they start shooting. Oh, my God. Yeah, everybody's an expert.
And I'll leave this with this, guys. I did not grow up with guns. You can learn all this. There is nothing stopping you. Nothing saying, just because I don't have a background or this and that. You can learn how to do this. And ladies, let me tell you something else. You have a natural advantage over men in shooting because you have better fine motor skills than we do.
That's good to know. Thank you for sharing that with the women. But we appreciate that. So ladies, remember, you're better than us. So guys, if nothing else, get a gun for the women, because when it goes down, you might need to rely on them more than you. All right. Well, thank you so much, Robert. This is Robert Alejadro, a firearm expert out of South Texas. We appreciate you calling in, and hopefully we can get you on in the future. You have a great day, okay? Thanks a lot. Give it up for Robert. Thank you.
Take care.
All right. Take care, my man.
The Second Amendment is just in case the first one doesn't work out.
You've been listening to the Big Ass Podcast with Al Gonzales. Follow us online at www.bigalgonzales.com. And don't forget to check us out on Instagram at TheBigAlGonzales or on Twitter at BigAssCom.